Hi boys and girls, it's day 2 of Grinch Week and I am so excited to sing our song. Have you been practicing? Let's do it. Ready? Mr. Grinch, you're so very mean. Furry face and scowling eyes, the meanest I have seen. Oh, Mr. Grinch, your heart grew and grew. Now you are a friend of mine and I'll smile back at you. Great, and it helps that our little friend Mr. Grinch is here. Well, today we are going to talk about how Mr. Grinch changed in the story. So we're going to start thinking about how he was at the beginning of the story and then how he was at the end of the story. Did he change? What made him change? So for today's lesson, you are going to need this that says characters can change and has Mr. Grinch on the front. It was on the back of the poem that we did yesterday. So you need that same piece of paper and we are going to begin. Okay, first, of course, write your name at the bottom. You can use a pencil, you can use your art pen, you can use whatever you want to write that you are comfortable with. So I wrote my name. You can even write the date if you'd like. I think I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So it says at the beginning of the story, the Grinch was. So who can describing words are called adjectives. And if we look at the very beginning of the story, you can kind of just see, just by looking at him, that he was not a very happy guy. He didn't like Christmas. He wanted to try to stop Christmas from coming. He didn't like all the songs and the music and the feasts that people enjoyed during Christmas time. Then he had that wonderful, awful idea. His plan was to stop Christmas from coming. And he was going to try to do that by stealing all of the Christmas presents, by stealing all of the food, and by basically stealing everything that is important around Christmas time. He even stole the ornaments on the tree and the whole tree. Oh dear. So then, and he even stole the fire log. He couldn't even keep warm. Oh, Mr. Grinch, you were so very mean. So let's talk about that. We're going to stop there. So at the beginning of the story, the Grinch was, let's think about something. I'll start. How about, I feel like he was grumpy. He just wasn't happy. So I'm going to stretch out grumpy. Grumpy. Ooh, and there's that Y that has the superhero E cape on at the end of grumpy, and it's saying E. Grumpy. Okay. What is another word that we can describe the Grinch as at the beginning of the story when he was trying to stop Christmas? Yeah, I was going to say he certainly wasn't nice, so the opposite of nice is mean. He was mean. Go ahead and write mean. I'm trying to think of what else. You know, he was only thinking about himself. He did not think about anyone else. And that word is called selfish. When you only think about yourself, you only care about yourself and not about anyone else. That's called selfish. So I'm going to stretch that word out. 2 letters. So you can write down selfish. So he only cared about himself, and he did not care about anybody else. He didn't care about how it would feel when the poor families woke up and had everything taken away. He just didn't care. Oh, my doggy's barking. Okay, and what about, I don't know about you, but I think that the Grinch was kind of scary at the beginning of the story. Did you feel that way? Yeah, he's green, he's furry, he's got those scowling eyes. He was scary to me. Scary. And again, that Y is at the end of the word, and it's got its superhero E cape on, the one that it stole from Superhero E, so it can say E when it's at the end of the word and no one's watching. So scary. Let's think of one more word. Actually, it says it in the book. It says it in the book when they said he had a wonderful, awful idea. I think he was awful. I think he purposely was trying to be mean, and I just think if someone is like that, that's called being awful. Just not nice. Awful. Awful. Okay. So look at all of those adjectives to describe the Grinch at the beginning of the story. So let's keep looking through and see if he changed and what made him change. Well, if you remember, he took back all of the things that he had stole from the Who's in Whoville, and he brought them all back up the side of Mount Crumpet. And he was so excited to hear the noise of crying when the people woke up, when the Who's woke up, and they realized that everything was gone. So that's where he stood. He couldn't wait to hear that. He was so looking forward to that noise. But instead, he didn't hear sad sounds. He heard merry. He couldn't believe it. Every Who down in Whoville was singing. It says every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. So even though they didn't have presents or a tree or food, they were still so grateful to have each other. And that's when the Grinch said, maybe, he thought, Christmas doesn't come from a store. Maybe, perhaps, Christmas means a little bit more. So yes, we think of Christmas and we think of the presents and we think of all the great things that Santa will bring us. But I think what the Grinch realized is that there's more to it than presents and ornaments and trees and decorations and food. It's about the people that we are with and the love that we have for one another. And I think that's when he realized that, I think that's when the Grinch changed. He really changed. And it says that, and what happened then? Well, in Whoville, they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. And he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast. So, I want you to go back to our character's change. And he went from being grumpy to the end of the story. What did he become? Happy. Yeah, he was happy and realized that Christmas was much more than presents and decorations, but that there was actually love there. What else do you think? I think it was kind that he returned all of the things that he had stolen. I think he actually felt a little bad about what he had done. That's called remorse, when you feel bad when you've done something bad and you wish you could take it back. So that's called remorse. He felt remorseful. So kind. And I think something came over him and he just wanted to be a part of it. He wanted to maybe even be giving. I'm going to put giving. 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 And I think if we could describe one more, what would you say? Well, when your heart grows and you have kindness and love, I think he wanted to be friendly. He was tired of being cooped up in his cave and mean and by himself. So friendly. Friendly. All right, my friends. Well, I love this story because it just shows that with a little bit of kindness, characters can change, people can change, and sometimes all it takes is just an act of kindness. And we've talked about that with kids too, how when you make room for them or when you invite them to play, it just changes the person because they feel like they are being included. So keep taking the time to be kind. And tomorrow, boys and girls, we are going to brainstorm some ideas about how we can make the Grinch grin. So I will see you tomorrow for part 1 of making the Grinch grin. Have a good rest of your day. I will see you for day 3 of the Grinch. Bye, friends.